Welcome to the channel here at Lucky Loon Outdoors, luckyloonOutdoors.com. I'm John, and today we are looking at this guy right here. We're going to be doing an unboxing and initial impressions on the lonerider motorcycle lights. I know everybody's been pretty curious about these. There's a lot of hype about them in the industry right now, you know, for being basically like the best motorcycle lights on the planet. Well, we'll see. And I know for a lot of folks, these are just pretty expensive to begin with. So really what it gets down to is it worth my money, you know, to spend on these things? So at least for today's video, we'll do initial impressions, we'll get out of the box, we'll look at the components, what comes with it. Follow-on videos, we're going to do the install on my Norden 901 Expedition. And then also we're going on the Ozarks BDRX in about a month. So we'll see how these perform out there too. So stay tuned for following videos, and then as far as this one goes, let's get started on ripping this thing apart and seeing what it's about. All right, so I do know that to make this work with your bike, you have to have a compatible bike that you can get the hex can for. It's basically the controlling unit that plugs into your bike and is the go-between between the lights and the bike. Because I know that you are able to control these through the controls in your bike, or I believe through your phone. It integrates with like the turn signals on your bike and a bunch of other stuff that I can't remember at this moment. But just looking at the box itself from the outside going in, you know, obviously LED, 6-beam functions, 180 watts. Wow, 23,200 lumens. That'll make it daylight in front of you. Waterproof, turn signals, all that stuff. Beast mode, who knows I don't know what that is. But anyway, this is really heavy. So it's a lot heavier than other kits I've had on my other machines. So hopefully that's a good sign. Let's get this open, shall we? Wow! So let's look at this together for the first time. Guess we don't need this right now. All right, opening up, we've got lonerider stickers, which I won't probably use for anything, but they're in there. What do we got here? Oh, that looks pretty nice. Being as an engineer, I like seeing things that make sense. We've got a pretty good, this makes sense, wiring diagram for how to wire in the lights. Of course, with your hex can being back here, that's a piece that you need to buy separate in some instances. And then I see we've got a scan with your phone to see how to do it. I appreciate the wiring diagram. Not a lot of people provide that. Let's get this packing material out of here. Ain't that a nice look right there? All right, let's pull this guy out, shall we? Wow, that's dense. Holy crap. Okay. All right, so we got a lens cover on there, which doesn't seem to be too cheap. Seems pretty decent. I'll turn that bracket down. Okay. So we've got clips all around the side here. You can see those there. So that's actually going on to the thing, onto the light housing. And this is on there pretty dang hard. Let's see if we can get it off. Wow, well, don't got to worry about these things coming off when you're driving, if you're not using the lights. Okay. Yeah, that's just a simple plastic. Oh, that's nice. They have these raised edges on the inside here to help center the cover on the actual light because it's hitting the bezel ring here. So that's just a little bit of extra design that you do not need, but they did it anyway. That's nice. Okay. Oh yeah, look at those. We've got our floods, our spots, and basically a really, really big high beam right here. I can't stress just how heavy this light is. Like this is like, feels like 3 pounds in this thing. It's got to be producing a lot of power. I mean, at 23,000 lumens, it's going to be. All right, let's take a look at the back here. Solid connection option here. There's I don't know if you can see on the camera, but on these connections, not only does it lock into the other parts of it, you know, the cabling, but there is a basically a rubberized O-ring or seal gasket on the inside that's about that thick. So when you go to connect them, it crushes it down and forms a seal around it. So I would be amazed if you got any water in there at all. That's a really good connection choice that they made there. I like that. All right, looking back here. All right, first thing I don't like, So the connection isn't bad here going into the light housing. They got a pretty decent gasket here, but the wiring going in, there's a little gap here. You can see I can pull it away with my finger. Now I don't know, I'm not going to take this apart. I don't know if it's sealed up in here or if it's just using a friction fit. I would like to see this filled with a material to make sure no water can get in whatsoever. And again, I don't know if it's sealed up in here or not, but I'm seeing a gap here right there. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Okay, let's look at the other materials on here. This little lens protector on here, I'll leave that on now until I have it installed. This bezel ring is pretty thick. This is significant. That's going to really help protect your light from things like brush, flying rocks, debris, stuff like that. So, you know, especially like going through trails, and you have like sticks coming out into the trail. This ring is really meant to hit that stick and push it out of the way before it actually hits the lenses. So this is pretty raised, like significantly raised. It's about that much. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but not bad. All right, decent there. This bezel ring overlaps the housing here, comes back this far. So this housing looks to me like it comes out about to here, and the bezel ring is overlapping all the way to here. So that's good for waterproofing and also strengthening the whole unit, essentially. All right, let's look at this. So this mount is, in my opinion, a little excessively dense, but it might be this stout just because how heavy this light is. And when you're taking these bikes off-road, they have a tendency, you know, to bounce around quite a bit or fall over or get rammed into stuff. So not necessarily a bad thing going with a, in my opinion, a little bit of an overbuilt mount, but it doesn't look too bad. And then I really do like this because my other lights don't have this. If you look here on both sides, it's the same thing, you know, where you adjust your light up and down. They have two bolts with a lock washer and a washer. And what that means is you can dial in where you want your light height, right? This way or that way. And then when you crush these down, because there's two on this side and two on that side, this thing really shouldn't move. Like, so if you're bouncing around off-road, this should pretty much stay right where you had it. So I do like that. My other lights do not have two. They have one, and I do find myself going out there and having to readjust my light because it moved on me, especially on my four-wheeler. I'm a little insane on that thing. So I wasn't expecting to see that. Rear housing here, you can see this panel here. This is where they have all the circuitry and stuff would be behind this panel. And again, that's why I was like, oh, is this waterproof further in, or is this, you know, I'm just a little curious about this piece. I see we've got two decent bolts there holding it down. It's flush mounted there, and I'm not taking it apart, but I'm going to assume that there is a ledge in here that this presses against, and there's probably a gasket around this whole thing, so it crushes into it. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this so far. Let's keep going. I've only got the one concern about this. That's really about it. Really good choice on those connections there. All right, so number 2, same deal. It's an adequate amount of lead going into the light. If you got it messed up, you could still cut it and repair it. You're not too short, so I do like that. These covers, of course, you can get different covers if you want, or covers that you can see through, so you can turn the light on and still use it, but protect the lens. But as far as out of the box goes, that's just fine. Will I use them? Probably never. I'll probably throw them in the garbage. But some people might want to use them. All right, that's everything in that box. Let's get that out of here. Let's see what our hardware looks like. Move these out of the way. Accessories. Okay, you can see that? Yep. All right, let's open this little guy up, shall we? I like what I'm seeing. This is just, everything is just so heavy. I'm surprised. All right, this looks like the between cord from light to hex can. I might be wrong. This is another one. We'll see. These are nice braided lines. These look like spacers or for vibration. Of course, lonerider is lonerider, and they give you everything you need in the box to make it happen. There's our tools right there. Every product I've ever gotten from them has everything. Everything. It has all the hardware, has the tools to do it, everything. So if you have like limited tools in your garage and you order their products, you should have everything you need already in the box to make it happen. So some peace of mind there. Interesting mounts. Okay. Here we go. Wow, these are stout. I'm curious what aluminum these are made out of. These are seriously dense. All right. Empty box. Let's get that out of the way. Okay. So looks like we have our 2 L brackets. So this is basically the lights would be mounting to. Let's see. Here's what goes around your bars. We'll open this guy up. Probably can't see it that well with the light. All right. So there's that guy. I'll show it to you a little closer. That right there. So we've got kind of like a bar mount for your handlebars. So you got your 2 bolts on the top, which look like they go almost full length. And this guy here, and we've got crush washers on there too. Looks like a 10 millimeter. That's fine. Nothing too concerning there. Pretty standard to me. A bit stouter than you think it needs to be, but again, these are really heavy lights, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. This is the same thing as that guy. And then here's our L bracket. Let's take a look at this. All right. Again, this is just so dense. This one feels like steel and not aluminum, but I could be wrong. We've got crush washers. Again, I'll show that to you if you can see it. But crush washers on both sides, and the cap to basically make things look nice. Nylock nuts. Seems pretty solid to me. Oh, what do we got here? These are our little rubberized guys that go basically around the ring if you need them. Helps with vibration. And helps fill space if you need it. So nothing bad there. There's our 2 L brackets. There's our 2 bar mounts. There's our spacer guys there. And then let's look at these cables. There should be 3. So, okay. I'm just glancing over at the wiring diagram. It's really straightforward. Okay, so that looks like light. That looks like light. Yep. Okay. Let's get this guy open. Get these out of the way. Okay, so you've got this guy coming off the light right here. All right. And that's going to plug into either one of these. This is for each light. So basically, this guy plugs into here. This is your mid cable. And then this guy, both of these, stretch out and plug into this right here. This is the main line that plugs into the hex can. So you've got your light at the front of your bike, cable coming off, routing wherever you need it so it's not in the way of things. Plugs into your mid guy right here. This gets you the distance so you can route the cabling wherever you need on your bike to reach the main harness, which is this guy here. So this comes off your light, goes into this guy. This gives you the distance to plug into this guy. And this guy is where you plug back into the hex can, which I don't have right now. So both of these lights plug into here. There's one there and one there, one for each light, and then you have a single guy coming out the back end that goes to the hex can. So this is really simple. In all reality, I think anybody could probably do this. And looking at these plugs, okay, so let's look at the wiring here. So we have, again, really good plugs on here with that really thick gasket that crushes down when you snap these guys together. So super happy with that. A lot of my lights are not this well built for my cabling. And then we have a single piece guy here, and this I don't know how to say this correctly. It's one piece basically going from the cable to the plug here. It is a part of it. It's been glued into it or molded around it, I guess is another way to say it. So there's no way water is getting into this. This is not going to happen. It's not getting in. And then you have this really nice braid around the wires that is going to help with abrasion or anything that hits it. This is really nice braided line here. I guess is better quality than most things I've seen, to be honest. So yeah, solid options here. I like what I'm seeing. So yeah, that's pretty much it on these lights. When I get the hex can, of course, I'll do an install video for this on the Norden. And then in about a month, we're doing that Ozarks BDRX trip. So this will be on the bike, and hopefully we don't have to use them. But then again, who doesn't want to try their new gear out, you know, in the backwoods at night? So we'll see what happens with that. And then check out our website, luckyloneoutdoors.com. We have all kinds of fun stuff on there. Check out the Dad's collection. There's some pretty good things in the Dad's collection. Shout out to that one. And of course, do not forget to subscribe if you like motorcycling content, hunting, shooting content, outdoors content. I mean, we have a farm, campground. We do a lot of stuff out here. Don't forget to subscribe, check out our other videos. Leave a comment down below about if there's anything else you want to see or hear about any of these lights or anything else in the channel. Let me know. I read all the comments, and if you're going to roast me and make it interesting, I like to be entertained. But yeah, other than that, you know, don't forget you're watching some cool videos, but get outside, get outdoors, have some fun, and don't forget to stay safe and have fun out there. All right, take care, everybody.